Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel with the latest updates from the Middle East. We now have official confirmation, also reported by Daily Mail as well as of course the media in the Middle East, that the IRGC leader and the Quds commander Ghani has actually been eliminated over the last few days. We've been focusing on a lot of speculations about Ismail Ghani, who was apparently until now the Quds Force leader, which is basically the head of the IRGC in the Middle East. Previously, this job belonged to Qasem Soleimani, who was taken out by Donald J. Trump a few years ago. Mr. Ghani apparently has now been eliminated, according to the confirmation in the media, internationally speaking, over the last few days. There's been a lot of rumors that obviously there was no communication with him. Nobody knew where he was. They did say that he was obviously with the other nutters in that big meeting where the leaders of Hezbollah were eliminated at the time. But since then, no confirmation of his whereabouts. Rumors started over the last few days that Ismail Ghani was in fact a Mossad agent. That's why he disappeared. And so that's what they said. The Iranian regime basically said, well, the reason we can't get hold of him is that he was always a Mossad agent, we just discovered. So why did you give him a job if you always knew that? But now they're saying that he's actually been killed. So that's, again, we don't really have any confirmation whether he was a Mossad agent or not, but we know that he was a right-hand man to Qasem Soleimani, the previous leader of IRGC in charge of the Quds Force in the Middle East, of course, the closer to Palestinian territories and Hezbollah. Then he got promoted, and now he's gone boom boom. So that's that. We're also going to give you guys the latest update on what's been going on in Israel, because we had yet another terrorist attack by the Islamists in Israel. But first, let's talk about last night, because there was absolute mayhem on the streets of Beirut as the Hezbollah members and even their families started to run away alongside the civilians in Lebanon. And there was a chaotic situation because last night's airstrikes in Beirut and around Beirut were the largest we've had in a long time. 30 buildings were brought down. One mosque has now been brought down by the IDF. They have also started to bring down the mosques that have been used as Islamic centers for Hezbollah to hide their weapons and everything else that they have. We do have a quick video, I believe, from the situation on the streets of Beirut. Yeah, all running away. Bunch of cowards. Now, as I said last night, these were the images we were seeing because the IDF stepped up their game in order to... They did obviously give a lot of heads up to the civilians to leave the residential areas. And of course, people in Lebanon, unlike people in Gaza, listen, and they said, okay, fine, you do what you have to do. We're going to go away for a bit and come back. There's a lot of pressure on the Lebanese prime minister because he's been struggling to broker any sort of deal between Hezbollah and Israel. It's not really going to happen anyway because Israel have already made up their mind. And the counterterrorism operation will continue until the enemy has been brought down. Now, speaking of the enemy, there has been yet another Islamist attack in Israel, and not much coverage really in the media right now. It's still obviously early hours. This happened obviously a couple of hours ago. We're trying to find out exactly in terms of the number of casualties. We do have obviously the latest numbers, which is, well, according to the initial investigation, the attacker arrived at a central station. It was basically near a McDonald's, and started shooting at people. Then he also stabbed some people. Security forces and armed soldiers quickly responded, shooting the attacker. One Israeli woman has been killed, and at least 10 others have been injured and have been taken to the hospital. That number might increase because, again, this is just it takes time to exactly find out how many people have been taken to the hospital and then reported to the media. We do have some videos from the attack in Israel. Let's go to that.
זה בלגן, הוא ירה במקדונלדס.
Yeah, so that was straight after the actual shooting incident happened. And of course, the security force and the police acted very quickly. Open source intel also reported about more warehouses being targeted in Beirut. Last night was a big operation, of course. As I said, last night and this morning, a number of warehouses, obviously some of the so-called residential area buildings as well as the warehouses have all been targeted. And one of the main issues that we currently have is we don't know exactly how long it will take to identify the new leader. Now, we have some information about the new leader of Hezbollah, which we'll talk about later today. But going back to also Gaza, focusing on what's going on in Gaza, Times of Israel confirmed, thanks to Mario, that Israel have now started a new ground operation in the northern parts of Gaza. Again, one of the main issues was that a lot of people have been sent to Rafah, and they have been obviously patrolling the areas in the northern parts of the Gaza Strip, but now they've decided to do a proactive campaign. Israel claims that the operation is in response to reports that Hamas is trying to re-establish itself in that area. When the Israelis started the operation in the north, of course, Hamas moved to the south. When they went to the south, they've escaped through the tunnel networks back to the north, and that is the problem. So, as I said, obviously the latest confirmation on Ismail Ghani, who was the IRGC leader in charge of the Quds force in the Middle East, also confirmed by Daily Mail, and not just by me or the Israeli media. The Iranian regime obviously are now claiming that he was a Mossad agent. But that's why he's disappeared. They're claiming he's alive and he's in Israel. Israel is obviously saying no, we killed him. So we'll find out eventually what the truth is. I don't think he was a Mossad agent, although you never know, because Mossad have managed to infiltrate the Iranian regime over the last few years very, very successfully. Let's quickly get some reaction from you guys while we are here, because I think we have a couple of very, very interesting trolls in the live chat, ladies and gentlemen. For example, we have Foxhole99 saying, free Palestine is going to finally be free soon. I'm not really sure why the laughing emoji was. These are the people who claim that they are very sad about genocide and innocent people dying, right? And yesterday when they came out in London to protest, or Rome or other places, and even online, I don't know why they always laugh and dance and clap. And I thought it was supposed to be a misery. I thought it was supposed to be a sad thing. They just dance around like, woo, free Palestine. Make up your mind. Are you happy or sad? Super chat. Let's see. Bless Israel. It's the first one. Thank you very much. And Mike says, who will be next to lose the game of tag? Hopefully Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader. Jesse says the stream title is a clickbait. How does that work? I don't think people know the definition of clickbait. Clickbait means the title would say something, you click on a video, and the video is talking about something else. So, considering the title of the video is Iran's IRGC leader killed, like the other previous leaders, by Israel. So, IRGC belongs to Iran, obviously in charge of the Quds forces, killed by Israel, unless you're claiming he was killed by Syria or, I don't know, New Zealand. And yeah, Qasem Ismail Ghani was the leader. I don't know if... I think Jesse doesn't know what clickbait is. Right. free constant filter. Yes, bring back the good old days, I guess. We got Maya Elijah says, F Israel. Stunning and brave. Stunning and brave. I think Israel is now terrified following that comment. Fat Cat says that IRGC and Quds forces are pansies. That is very true. It's a bunch of amateurs. It's not really it's not as professional as people think they are, considering how easily they were infiltrated by Mossad. As an atheist, I do hope that the IDF make Lebanon Christian again, and Iran, whatever, except Islam. Yep. Obviously, only about 30% in Iran are practicing Muslims. So the big Christian, obviously, conversion in Iran continues. And also Zoroastrian movement, the original ancient Persian religion, is also on the rise a little bit. But we'll find out what's going to happen after this regime falls. Jack says, 72 goats in red panties. Dark Knight says, Maya, you should repent, because hellfire is the punishment in the afterlife. Why are people worried about other people's afterlife? Just worry about your own afterlife. That would be nice. Don't worry about my hellfire. I'm going to enjoy it. It's going to be nice. It's going to be warm, like Spain. Bitches. Alright. George says, I clicked on here to find out how to cook a chicken. Exactly. You got clickbaited. That was a joke about the previous comment about the clickbait, by the way. Alright. I think we have an Iranian in the chat saying, you are so right about 30%. Thank you for pointing at this. Yeah, so the 30% practicing Muslims in Iran, it's about 32. It's about, yeah, I mean, the last time they checked, but it's definitely gone down. Massive conversion to Christianity. Zoroastrians are also finally becoming confident. For years, they had to stay quiet. And but a lot of them are also just at this point just secular and atheists. So, you know, Islam has actually done a massive, well, the Islamic Republic of Iran have done a massive disservice to both Islam and basic religion, because a lot of the new generation in Iran, like, just I don't want anything to do with any of this nonsense. Iran would have been the most successful country in the world if it concentrated to its economic activities rather than making countries to fight on its behalf. Well, it's not Iran, that's the problem. So Iran was a successful country, and it was becoming the top 5 economic powers and military powers in the world in the 70s. Iran no longer exists for now because it's been taken over, it's been occupied, it's been hijacked by the Islamic occupiers. So what you see is the Islamic Republic essentially in charge, and once they go, when Iran returns, then they can go back to being successful again, because, you know, it's not just about natural resources, but also the talents of the population and the culture that they have. That's why they were always top in the region. It says, Maya, people around the world think that Iran is 100% Muslim. Yes. Yeah, the world needs to know. They do think that. A lot of people around the world, because the regime is literally called the Islamic Republic, they think that the whole country is Islamic. It's like claiming that the whole of Lebanon is now Islamic. It's not. You've still got Christians there as well. I mean, London, that's a different case. London is becoming Islamic. Anyway, let's see what we have. Blue Sapphire says, correction, Iran would have been one of the best and most modern countries if Islamic takeover never happened. Yeah, and it was in the 60s and 70s, and it was just the beginning of modernization in Iran. As the slave says, so where was he living? In Iran? No, he was part of that big meeting in Lebanon, who was obviously with the previous leader of Hezbollah that got eliminated. He was killed there. And we now have some breaking news as well for you guys, ladies and gentlemen. The Iranian regime are now confirming and preparing to attack Israel, preemptive, before Israel manages to attack Iran. So, of course, the Iranian regime declared war on Israel a week ago. And Israel have been preparing for retaliation. They've taken their time, obviously, to make sure that they do it properly rather than in a rash way. And now they have decided, the Israelis have been indicating that over the next few days we could see a retaliation. The Iranian regime are actually getting ready to do a preemptive attack. And they have said that obviously if Israel attacks, we will come back and do a second wave of attacks. We have the latest statement from a Tasnim news agency, obviously by the Iranians, saying that the plan for the necessary response to a possible action by the Zionists has been fully prepared. If Israel takes action, there will be no doubt that an Iranian counterattack will be carried out. They've also added that Iran, the Islamic Republic, has a list of many Israeli targets. I'm not really sure. Last time they had a list of targets, they missed it and hit the Palestinian territories and what was it, Jordan and and they're not very good at aiming, so I wouldn't worry too much about the Islamic Republic attacking again. Michael makes a very good point in the live chat. Blame that nutter Jimmy Carter and France for Iran's downfall and ushering the fundamentalists. Yep. Jimmy Carter, who, by the way, just had his 100th birthday the other day, has a lot to answer for. The man who was claimed to be a nice man destroyed the world by bringing down the monarchy in Iran. He funded, with CIA, funded and trained the Islamic occupiers. France obviously protected Khomeini, the first supreme leader in Iran, sent them to Iran when they were ready, with the support of MI6, just because they thought that as long as we could back the new puppets, the Islamic side, we could stop the communists from taking over Iran. The idiots didn't realize that the Islamic side can't be tamed, and it backfired, because the next day they came out and started chanting death to America. So, and that's why they are the Western side, the globalists are obsessed with keeping this relationship that they have with the Islamic Republic, because they can't control them. Super chat from some saying, free the UK from Muslims. And someone said something about Carter. Jimmy Carter should have stayed a peanut farmer. I don't understand why he got into politics. But he was a nice man, apparently. All right. Yeah, Bella says, yeah, don't get me started on Jimmy Carter. Yeah, the only president that was worse than Jimmy Carter is Joe Biden. That's it. Otherwise, Jimmy Carter was leading that role for a long, long time. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to talk about. We are going to talk about the new Hezbollah leader later on. And we're going to talk about Keir Starmer's crisis in number 10. Of course, earlier today, we reported on Sue Gray resigning. We also reported on what happened yesterday in London. Go check out those videos. The live updates will continue throughout the day, including some short video updates as well for you guys. And tomorrow, 7th of October, we have a massive update on the future of 2C TV. So stay tuned. And of course, I'll come back shortly with more updates. I'm Maya 2C, and we are the media.